Let's see what this does. There we
I'm
are.
live.
There we are. All right. Look at that. Hey, it's your boys. We've got some watchers. We got some people checking us out today. Let's pull up the market here real quick. See what's going on. Whoop. This is the Qs on the daily. We're down about 0.75%. GP. But we talked last week about this guy. This guy's not down. Apple's not down. Apple's up what? 1.25%, something like that today.
Yeah. It feels like the only way Apple can go up is if the market goes down. So it's a really odd dichotomy going on right now.
That's weird. Nick, do you take anything from that?
The trend is up, and I kind of view a lot of the day-to-day action as just kind of backfilling. So, just kind of one of those days, like I think depending on how you're positioned and, what you got on, there's days to just kind of to check. So, hey, I'm just going to kind of let what happens.
You guys doing anything? I mean, there's some red out there. NVIDIA's down 3%, almost 3.5%. Semi's getting hit, getting whacked a little bit. Baba's down. Baba's been trending down a little bit. Tesla, GP, you made a bold claim on what Tesla was going to do this weekend in our little group chat that we have for the show. Anything here concerning or anything? Just a typical Tuesday. What's you guys thinking?
To me, I'd argue that we're not in an uptrend.
You just want to leave it there?
What would you call it?
I would call it. So I'll be. I'm bullish overall, but I do see signs of 2021, right? And we're yesterday we had an amazing day, right, in terms of the market, but it was mostly concentrated in NVIDIA, in certain names, but a lot of other names kind of underperformed, right? There was not so great. So Tesla had a great day yesterday, and then like it can't stop opening up weak. It's like literally, but it's not going anywhere, right? It's just sideways. So there's no trend here, right? Apple, which only goes up when the market goes down. Like yesterday, Apple wasn't up. The market was rip roaring, and Apple was maybe up 10 cents or 15 cents or whatever it was. And so there's a weird positioning going on right now that has me thinking vibes of 2021, even though I've been talking about how we're about on the verge of breaking out into a monster uptrend. There's things that are concerning for me. I'm not bearish. I am not buying puts yet.
But I mean, 2021 was pretty good. I've got the chart up on the screen here of the Qs. 2021 was pretty good. Are you talking about the end of 2021 heading into 22?
Yeah. So like, let's take a look at NVIDIA as an example, right? If you can bring up NVIDIA.
I would love to do that for you.
Yeah. So NVIDIA, let's look at 2021 first before we go to this kind of motion here.
2021 on the Qs or 2021 on NVIDIA?
On NVIDIA.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So, right, like you have this kind of sideways action, right? Sideways action, and that kind of final move higher, right, into NVIDIA. It went up into 2021 while the rest of the market was getting obliterated, right? We were talking about this dichotomy of very few things participating back then. Roku was getting snapped for 50%, XYZ, previously known as Square, getting snapped, Wayfair getting snapped, everything getting snapped 50, 60%. until the mega caps started to come and participate to the downside. And then all those names went down even another 60-70%, right? So they got destroyed. And so NVIDIA has this kind of look where it tried to go higher out of this look, and it failed. So it was like if you scroll back a little bit on that, right? We're in a massive uptrend and this kind of final look higher before we came rolling down. So
sorry, I changed time frames on you to get a better look.
Yeah, no worries. But same thing, right? Like it's that 2021, you had that huge uptrend going into 2021. At the end, it's kind of this final blow off top, which was a trap. You'll see that the volume wasn't like insane or anything, and then it came like slowly roaring down, right? So you're seeing it in Oracle as well, right? Oracle had that capitulation volume off of earnings and hasn't seen a single day higher. There's definitely things, and then Apple's behavior, which is acting as a defense stock versus being just a bull move, right? Like if yesterday Apple was green, I probably, and like green like heavily, I would have been like, okay, this feels a little bit better. But over the last couple of weeks, we've seen Apple become defensive quite often, and that's a concern. It should be for a lot of people. I'm not saying it materializes into a lot of stuff, but we continue to push higher in the queues and less things start to participate. So I would say the trend may be up in the queues, but it's sideways across the market, if not down, right? So I got my cautionary flags in. I think everyone and their mother, and the other part of that conversation is everyone and their mother thinks that we're going to have a massive move into year end, which is what, right?
Yeah.
So that tends not to play out quite often. But we are in an uptrend in a bull market, and in a year that's up tends to finish up as well. So I know that's as well. So I'm cautious. I'm not doing anything. I haven't changed any positions. Just talking about the similarities of 2021, and they are consistently destroying moves day after day, right? Like up, down, up, down, up, down. So just something to keep in mind.
Let's say this does play out in the event that like this is kind of towards the end of 2021. Would you be in the camp then that we're heading into that long, like a year-long type of correction or something? Because the way that I kind of was just kind of drawing out some, kind of if-thens on my, like, let's say SPY chart. Like, let's say we do start to kind of put in like a descending channel here. Like, I would be kind of in the camp that we kind of go sideways and just kind of chop into the beginning of next year rather than like a full year bear. Or do you not?
I hope we don't get 2022, right? Like we've had where I was just talking to my brother about this over the weekend. In our lifetime, right? We've seen some insane moves down, and we're not even 50 yet, right? Like it's kind of crazy in terms of like we've seen the .com bust, we've seen the GFC bust, we've seen COVID bust, we've seen a rolling bear market in 2022, 37% down in the queues. It was miserable. You can argue, and a lot of those stocks haven't even recovered at all, right? And then you had the 25% move down just this year as well. So do I want that? No, not at all. But for me as a trader, not to take a look at different trends and biases change, then I'm not doing my job, right? So as much as I think there's big room to the upside for a lot of these names, right? Like that haven't participated, like Apple and Tesla, and in a little bit of Amazon, right? And crypto's the other concern, right? Crypto cannot find buyers meaningfully. It bounces, sure, but it can't find buyers meaningfully. So yeah, I don't want that, Nick. And Netflix is about to be dead money for a really long time as well. They're going to do this ridiculous 10-to-1 split. And if you go back to 2015, Netflix, I think it no longer becomes the bull market leader because it is splitting, right? Like it's no longer here nor there. It just goes sideways. So that's just my thoughts. I'm still fairly bullish overall. That I hope this resolves to the upside. But dude, we've been in an uptrend in the Qs since May, since that breakaway gap we talked about in May. But it's been brutal in terms of how the price action has actually unfolded, right? Underneath.
Yeah.
Unless you were in zero revenue companies like Oklo or RGTI or BE or all these zero revenue companies that just look. RGTI made less than $10 million annualized and is barely down 5% today.
Dude,
right?
It looks like a phenomenal short here.
But what I'm saying is this is the stuff that worked, not a lot of the stuff that people actually hold. So
I got to jump in here. This is a complete tone change from UGP, and I understand you're not full on bearish right now. But we're just coming off of basically the last 3 or 4 weeks of saying you're not bullish enough. And now you're saying you're seeing cracks. And I'm not disagreeing that market action and price action haven't been less than desirable for bulls over the past 2 weeks. I'm just surprised that all of a sudden this is the stance we're coming out with on today's show, because we did no show prep today. Surprise, surprise. So it's just, this is washing over me fresh and anew, and it's just a little bit of a surprise coming from where we've been.
I think so. I still think we're not bullish enough, right? And so what I'm fighting right now is what I'm seeing in price action. Mm-hmm. So I think I have my bias, which is I don't think we're bullish enough. But what I'm seeing is the reality of the price action, which is what's going on in the markets, right? So that's what you're seeing from me in this conversation, which is why it feels flip-floppy. But I'm positioned to be, I'm not bullish enough. I'm less than 10% cash. I am all this stuff. But if things start to fail here, I have stops and positions I don't have conviction in. So that gets, this is the same conversation I've had for weeks now, right? Like if the market stops behaving the way I think it's going to behave, I'm going to get stopped out of my less than strong conviction names, which then raises my cash immediately from 10% to about 30, 35%, right? That's just
wow.
Yeah.
Well, as a good trader, you should be doing that, right? You should have your least conviction be your first exits, obviously, and that makes sense. And you don't want to be stuck in names that you don't have ultimate conviction in if there are any kinds of drawdowns or market pullback. So all that's reasonable. That's just being practical. But what I'm hearing is a tone shift that you're basically saying of, I'm seeing the early part of the end of 2021, we might be heading for 22. And 22 was very painful for a lot of folks. I did okay, but I mean, it was painful for me too. It was painful for anyone who was along that didn't have cash to add to their positions. And I hear that you're adding maybe up to 30% cash. That sounds like a lot, knowing how you've described your trading in the past. Am I reading too far into this, Nick? Or are you smelling the same thing?
I hear what he's saying. Like I think that's just kind of the way to play, because if you're starting to see some warning signs and the price action is frustrating, you can't unless you pretty much drilled this trend and are riding, it's difficult to take new positions, is what I'm hearing. And
but I took MicroStrategy yesterday, right? So it's not like I'm I'm unbullish, right? I took MicroStrategy because it's at a pivot, but MicroStrategy breaks here, I'm out, right? I'm not going to sit there and wait for it, and that's
endure a 30% drawdown, right?
Yeah, it's in a downtrend, and you're taking a shot. You're like you live to fight another day. You don't fucking figure out how much lower it can go, right? So I hear you guys, but I'm also positioning in, right? I also took Fubo long last week, right? So I'm not unbullish. I'm just recognizing that on a day like yesterday, right, where we should have had broad participation. Yesterday was a really clear example of what I think should have happened and what didn't happen, right? So yesterday, in terms of we just reopened the government, liquidity should flow back into the system. We should see all these things. And you know what small caps did? They hit the 2024 highs and then spent the rest of the day selling off and filling the gap, right? That to me, after 4 years of sideways, is got to be caution. And today, it's acting stronger than other things, right? So like there's no trend, so to speak, in terms of being able to establish a clear direction. So the direction is long-term bullish, yes. So I want to be positioned for that, right? I haven't touched my AMD, I haven't touched my Intel, I haven't touched any of this other stuff, but the stuff that I'm putting on new, I'm very, very cautious about it.
I'm not bullish. I'm just saying I'm warning you. That's what I'm hearing.
No. It's if price action starts to behave like 2021, you have to start acting. You don't. The last thing you want is lack of cash in a 37% drawdown over 6 months.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we can relive early 2025 again if you want to talk about raising cash. Yeah. But I'm pulling up the Netflix chart here, and your bull market leader, I mean, it looks like it's found a bottom from where it was falling out, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say I kind of like it. We had kind of a breakout failure in late June, early July, late June there. Pulled back into the range, and then we undercut the range, pulled right into the 200-day, put in a 3-week tight, which again, you could argue on the weekly time frame, you could maybe argue bear flag. When I see tight closes, I try to steer clear of calling it a bear flag. Not saying, like take an entry here or what, but because we definitely could, continue lower. But I kind of like it. It's not a name that I'm in, but yeah, I don't know.
It's holding the rising 50-week. It's the first test of the rising 50-week since 2023. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with Netflix, right? But it's also going to split. And once Netflix splits, take a look at what Netflix did after the last split, 2015. Take a look at what Amazon and Google did after their splits in 2022 and 2023, right? They're pretty much dead money for a year or two.
Yeah, at least a year.
Yeah. And so, like, Netflix's greatest strength and its weakness is its low float abilities to move price action across the board, right? We've talked about low floaters so many times over our conversations. Low floaters tend to give you 78% moves down in 2022, but then also give you 500-600% moves up since then, right? So when you start to get rid of the low floating in Netflix, it becomes a lot more dead money until it starts to move itself.
On a day-to-day candle, I think it's important that both the SPY and the Qs really, if this trend is going to continue, I think it's important to kind of push out of here sooner rather than later. I think if it, we continue to kind of just chop around here, it's going to look like price is going to look like a lower high. So there's one side of me that would rather see price make a lower high rather than a breakout failure. On the other hand, I don't really want to go into another. Well, I mean, who am I to who cares what I want? Mark's gonna do what the fuck it wants to do. But I'm just saying, I think that
the more I hear you both, this is the sound in my ears. What's going on in my head?
I'm not. I'm still pretty like I'm still pretty mega bold. I just don't want to see that gap. This is kind of one of those gaps where like I don't want to see it get filled. Like I don't want to see backfill here. On the Qs, not so much the SPY or the IWM. The Q candle by candle put in an island reversal candle off of the 50-day. So if it comes back and fills that, like I'm not going to be too thrilled. I don't know. That's just kind of like
Dude, I'm
I
long
still
the
think
NQs right now, right? So I'm not bearish, right? So I am literally long the futures right now at the 25 510 level. I like the I think you have to stick to short-term trends here until there's better resolution. And the move down and recapture on Friday was great. And then you need to see more of a broad-based rally yesterday when the government is reopening. So maybe we get that in the next day or two, and my views change.
Are we
About
officially
it?
reopened, or it's got to go to Congress? Yeah.
No, it's still got 3 more votes to go through, and then the House has to approve the Senate's bill. So we're a long way from being reopened.
Sure.
I mean, as long as the 8 Democratic senators who have voted for this reopening stay the course, it's going to happen. But there's probably 4 senators that are still on the fence about continuing further down this road. But odds are it opens. I mean, we could go check Polymarket and see, but odds are that it opens.
What are your thoughts, Ben? Right, like you're asking us on our kind of bearishness a little bit, right? It's cautiousness, it's not bearishness.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
posted a bunch of charts over the weekend, and I posted a bunch of charts yesterday of just like random stuff that I don't typically look at that people ask me for. Yeah, price action's a little squeamish, right? I think we're seeing that, but nothing's broken. It seems like I say this every week. We're where we were at, how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 days ago, right? Like, yeah, you can call it a sideways market. You can call it not an uptrending market. You can call it whatever you want to, but we're not breaking these major support zones. I mean, when we saw this bounce Friday, this was the moment, much like this was the moment for me, for you guys, right? Like, I just think that you don't get this type of reaction and this type of volume, the highest volume that we've had, and GP, you're the volume master, since April, the highest volume we've had since April. I don't think that goes unrewarded. So I still lean bullish. I think of the 3 of us, you 3 have been leading the you're not bullish enough phase, especially Nick. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm bullish
today.
I'm bullish. And yeah, GP, I want to come back to Apple. You were talking about Apple is green when the market's red and red when the market's green. I hear you, but the mega cap thesis of rotation that we've talked about for ages, that's not new or unique to us, buying that. I think there's new leadership happening, and it just takes a little while to work that out. As we know, when money rotates, it doesn't happen and everything's all go like that, right? In one day or one session. So I'm still very bullish. I still think that the market is going higher through end of the year. And could we see some weakness in Q1? I mean, I think we've seen enough of that over the past, 8 to 10 years, that we see some end of Q4, early Q1 scaries. So I don't diminish or dismiss that conversation. I just don't know that I'm ready for 2022 redo. I don't think I'm on board with that just yet.
Okay.
I mean, it
No,
could
I
happen.
think it
Anything
would
can
look,
happen.
yeah, totally. I think it would look really pretty from a technical standpoint to kind of base and go sideways here in the indices. Um, it would be, it just wouldn't be, it'd be really uncomfortable. Um, the 200-day is surpassing the early 2025, late 2024 highs in both the SPY, let's see, and the Qs. IWM not there yet. Although IWM is going, looks like it's going green. Check out the IBB and XLE.
Yeah, XPI looks great.
I've been biting my tongue. I still think that they're both gonna continue to run together. I love poking at Duzio and MBG about it because I don't know. That's just, I don't know why I think that, but I just think that like drugs, energy, and money is like where we should be, or like where your focus should be. I think a lot of the other stuff is kind of like, yeah, okay, fine, drones, yeah, robots. I don't know. I still think that we're not bullish enough.
That's
All right.
But that, so like, look, this is the part that, like, today is Veterans Day, so it could be related to the holiday and the bond market being closed. I understand that as well. So I'm not putting too much into what today is doing. It was more yesterday that was kind of like, okay, let me step back. What am I missing, right? Like, why did they spend the day settling off Apple and Amazon while everything else ran, right? Like, and
Yeah.
Amazon's basically flat today, though.
Correct. And like, but why can't this move out? Why can't why can't a lot of these names move out? But like, if you're looking at this, right? Look, if you look at the XPI
Well,
today,
I mean,
take a look at XPI today, right? It is up 2.6%. Regional banks are up 0.5%. XLE is up nearly 2%. And XLF is up 0.5%, right? These are 4 of the 5 leading sectors of small caps. And the small caps are red. So to me, like, something doesn't sit right? Something doesn't make sense. Like, how are we consistently seeing, and it's 2,000 stocks.
Small caps are flat.
Yeah. I mean, I think
they're
to
flat
answer your
now.
question as in, I mean, I think to answer your question as to why we're not moving up and out of this is because I don't think we've quite reached that apex point that Cookie talks about in terms of the shutdown and like the impact that this is going to have. Like, there's still unknown uncertainty out there that if this doesn't open, if they don't reopen this in time, like what is the fallout going to be? I think that's kind of like, I think that's what and how I would argue it is just that we haven't reached that apex point yet.
Yeah. And so, like, IWM is consolidating under 2024 and 2021 highs. That's the other part too, right? Like, when you see these breakouts, I like to see them consolidate above the pivots, not below, right? And that's just in general. I still think it's all going to go, but I'm cautious. That's it.
Yeah, I hear you, GP, and I'm not knocking your what you're looking at and how you're trying to devise the market, and we can all change our view on things after studying them and looking at them. So I appreciate your new perspective. It's just hit me like a bucket of cold water to the face, though. You know what I mean? So when you when you say something, I listen. All right, I don't always act because we trade completely differently and we're involved in different things. But when you're talking, I'm listening to you. I try to parse what you're saying, and it's a definite tone shift. And I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong. It's just surprising to me. That's all.
Yeah. Well, if I'm wrong, I mean, if I'm if I'm right, it's going to hurt a lot. But you're going to get stopped out, right? It's just what's going to happen. But
well, as we've noted,
Amazon just went green.
we've noted over the past 2 or 3 weeks
hard.
that crypto hasn't been doing what it's typically should be doing in its cycle either, right? So my antennas have also been up, but at the same time, if we look at the way things previously performed, a bounce back still isn't out of the question for crypto. So while I'm taking a step back and being more aware and observant, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater just because I'm seeing some things, right? Like, to me, just as the market, like, we're not broken, right?
No.
There's some fractures, but we're not broken. Or fissures, maybe, not fractures. I mean, there's some lines that you can see that might worry you, and I get it. When a perma bull says anything, cautious antennas are up. Which brings me to Kramer. Kramer yesterday, I guess, I saw this on the StockTwits newsletter, the Daily Rip. Kramer's out there giving warnings, right, of this AI bubble now after being very bullish, and you guys know how I feel about Kramer. I think you got to be able to differentiate. You got to read between the lines sometimes with him, and people like to jump on inverse Kramer and this and that, but he's been right on occasion. But what I thought was really interesting, and Nick, I saw you liked my comment on this. When him and Michael Burry are both seeing eye to eye, to me, that's the bottom's in. Like, right? Like, Burry has he's hit one of the last 100 bear markets that he's called. So I take everything that I see from the action of that portfolio with a ton of salt. And honestly, I don't even know why we give him oxygen. I don't know why people.
Yes.
I don't know why people feel like they have to say everything that he's doing because he's been so wrong. And yeah, he's a billionaire. Great. Congratulations. But that doesn't make your public calls correct. And
dude, even the one he got right, he got wrong for 2 years. He had to go beg for money to get his last short right.
I don't want this to be a dog pile on him, right? But what I'm saying is what you're saying. Like, we take too much stock into these perma bears who call everything under the sun and who have consistently been wrong for ages. That's all.
Yeah. And does this, to you guys, does this ever feel like a bubble? Like, to me, it doesn't. Like, I don't see a bubble. Yeah, that's, like I said, it's caution, and I don't see myself as a perma bull.
You're bullish more often than not, though,
because markets are designed to go up. What the?
I know. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
Your temperament is most of the time you're bullish, and that's okay.
Yeah, and in one of the nastiest moves in recent history, we were bearish, right? 2022. You were bearish in 2025 before all of this stuff started, right? Like,
you got to pick your shots.
It's a bull market 80% of the time. Everyone's a perma bull, right? If that's your theory.
If you're making money.
Yeah. Or you could be miserable like Jim Chanos and get one short right in MicroStrategy in the decade, right? Too bad he lost thousands of % in Tesla, so none of this makes up for any of that stuff.
Right.
I think for a lot of it, it's perspective and perception of time, right?
Yes.
Like, when I imagine a bubble, like, I think of like price moving like vertically, not at like a grind kind of melting up at like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking like something more, like that versus like, that. So when I hear like, I don't know, that's just what I think about when I think
the Qs, right? In 99 to 2000, in 5 months, the Qs doubled. The Qs, not a stock, the index. That's a bubble. If you didn't see that and you didn't start selling stuff, then I don't know what to tell you. But after a almost decade-long bull run, you had 100% move in the 5 months. You need to start trimming. You need to start getting. That's none of that stuff here.
Well,
I agree.
we complained enough at Stocktoberfest back in Coronado about the circular financing that everybody likes to talk about, which, you know, could be bullish or could be bubblish, but at the same time, like I think there were a lot of companies, and there still are a lot of companies that absolutely are, you know, shitcos that made what that last bubble was, right? And I don't think we're quite there to. I actually am going to do some research on that, and I'll get back to you. But I don't think we're at the point where there's as much. I'll call them bubble companies, not trash companies or shitcos. I'll call them bubble companies. I don't think there's as many of those now as there were then. And if there are, I don't think they're pulling in the amount of money percentage wise to what the stock market was running as they are now. But I'll do some research and look into that. I don't think that's the case.
I am bullish gold and silver.
This boy's talking gold again.
Well, shit. That one paid me very well when I shorted it, and I closed out the long yesterday, and I waited to consolidate, and I'm back long again.
It's a good trade, GP.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a good trade.
Yeah. I like it. I like these things. The 821 are curling back up and through. It had a 10% correction. It was the first correction in the first up leg, right? So typically those tend to be buyable, not blow off tops. That's your first leg is from, what was that, from 3,000 to 4,000 or whatever that was, 3,300 to 4,300. And so this should be buyable. If it fails, it fails. But I like, and silver yesterday as well as today is outperforming gold. So if you're putting your eggs in one basket, then I probably lean towards silver than gold. But both look really good ultimately. And I think this continues to be a trader's market, day to day, hour to hour, month to month, whatever it is. But yeah, there's like nat gas looks pretty good too. So does oil. Oil actually looks like it's about to break out.
We're talking oil on this show. What in the fuck is going on? Pardon my
I need
French.
some gosh, man. Check that out.
Let's check out the gush. For those that don't know,
this is what happens when Tesla does this bullshit for two and a half.
For those that don't know, we did our podcast. We've been doing it for a long time, and this was at the peak of oil or energy, right? In what was that, 23, Nick? And Nick said, "I've got one for you. You got to get you some Gush." And Gush is the 2x levered play. It proceeded to just go straight down after he recognized it.
Yeah, was that November? That was November 2022,
yeah,
right?
you completely top ticked it.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely top ticked it. But it's fine. I still love you. So when you hear one of us, especially me, say, "You got to get you some Gush," it's just an ode to Nick. That's all.
But now oil is looking good.
Yeah, XLE's popping.
I mean, the Gush looks pretty good on the weekly chart if it can hold $25.11, $25.
So that big up, that curl, that looks amazing to me. Gush. I'm never gonna buy Gush, but if you are so inclined to and follow Nick and his Gushness, it's a good stock. But oil looks good, right? Like so, I was going to trade oil futures for the first time yesterday ever, and I decided not to because I don't understand it enough. And I was like, nope, need to do some more work. But the chart looks good. That's where we are in the cycle. GP's got to be trading oil, gold, and silver to make any money.
Gosh.
Somebody wanted Tesla. Let's pull up Tesla. I had Tesla up on the screen earlier, but we didn't really talk about it that much. Hey, Nick, give us your Tesla take. You want the weekly, daily? What time frame you want?
We can chill on the daily. What are you on right now? The weekly?
I'm on the weekly, but I'll flip it over. There you go.
Yeah, it pretty much bottom ticked off the 50-day. Price under 400 would have me peeling quite a bit off.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see price hold 400 if it does kind of pull back to the low end of that range. Depending on the overall market, I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see. But um, just measuring from kind of the breakout there around 340, 350, I have a leg starting from there up to 470. And pending we do take out the highs here, I think that this is kind of setting us up for the break up to that 500, 530. I like it when you stack measured moves on, like, let's say lower time frames, and then it has kind of larger time frame implications. Obviously that, because that would be putting price into an all-time high, all-time high. On the flip, like, I don't know. It's in a range right now, so if your bias is to the long side, you'd be looking to add or to enter on anything versus kind of like that 400, the low end of the range, even here versus kind of the 50-day. Ultimately, nothing is confirmed until that high pivot get taken out. I would imagine bears are probably calling it a double top.
Oh yeah.
So, which, if you just measure the width of the range from 4 to 470, if we do take out that 400, it's likely we're going to be heading back to the 200-day, which is kind of like
Yep.
right around that 330, 340. So, depending on where you're long from, whether you're a long-term investor or you're actively trading it, knowing where those measured moves and once range expansion starts to happen can give you kind of low risk entries. So, like, let's say you were long Tesla from, like, let's say sub 300. If it does snap that 50-day, and you do start to peel some off under 400, I'd be looking to add that back on weakness versus like I would be in the camp that we're heading back to the 200-day, especially if, you know, GP is right in terms of like the NAS and us kind of going into a sideways or, end of 2021, like more of a corrective phase. It's tough for me to think that we're going to head into a 2022 length of a correction. I could certainly see like another 2 to 3 months, like a 8 to 12 week, something like that. But anything's possible, and a lot of times, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see
I
the
like
double
Tesla. I'm long
top,
Tesla.
and I have seen the double top speak. Again, I come back to what happened with the bounce of everything on Friday, and even Tesla bounced off its 50-day. That's a long
Yeah.
way down to the 200-day, and I think you're exactly right, Nick. I would even go a step above that. I think you got to be, if I was new in the trade, I would be out on a break of the 50-day. I wouldn't
Yeah,
even
for sure.
wait for 400, right? I would just be out there. But I'm going to pull up the weekly because, I love a weekly chart and I hate a daily chart. I think we're just consolidating up, and I love the weekly chart because it shows this so much better, right? All these candles are above all these other prior candles, right? I think this is just building energy. And, GP's the guy who said 550 this week. He said that in a private chat, so I'm letting the public know that was GP's expectation yesterday. But I just think it's building energy in here. That's all I think it's doing. I think it's ranging, it's building energy to go higher. You guys know how I feel about Tesla. You guys know how I feel about Elon. This is not based on my change of heart of either one of those things. It's just looking at the chart, right? So I think we're building energy. I think you get a completely different perspective of the chart going from the daily chart, right,
To the weekly.
to the weekly chart.
I think if you're looking at the daily, focus on the high volume candles. I think
And
that'll
you're
tell you.
completely above, right? Sorry, Nick. Right here at 425, we'll call it. You're completely above prior all-time highs too. So you're just you're building that energy to go higher, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Consolidation above the range.
The monthly by far looks the best. I was just going to point out, on Tesla, like on the daily, pay attention to the high volume candles, the high, the low of those bars. A lot of times that's where you'll see price, gravitate towards. So on Tesla, for instance, September 15th is a candle to pay attention to. The 12th would be kind of brutal. If you saw price kind of creep into the body of that candle on the 12th, then it's like, okay, yeah, we're heading back. That's telling you that range expansion is happening to the downside versus the upside. But within the range that it's in currently, that September 15th bar is kind of the beginning of the range that's forming right now, just like the October 2nd bar, the high of that, which was obviously the open, is kind of confirming the high of its range. So when you're looking at, support and resistance, I try to look at where where the high volume candles are and where the highs and lows of those candles are. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but
Yeah.
like price could fuck around in here. Like there's no saying. Yeah.
Sorry, I have alerts on for certain people, and Nasty Nate's one of them. And he's not too bearish, but Nate's trying to say that things look like they might be breaking down. So,
All right,
we'll
I'm
see
gonna
how
have
that plays
to.
out.
I'm gonna have to change my stance.
That's where Nate's at, and I respect Nate. Like Nate a lot. LHX was another chart that we had pulled up, and I really like LHX.
Yeah, that looks great.
I was in this for a minute. It frustrated me right here, and we're pushing higher now. So I like it. I like it long term. GP, I don't know if you have any takes on L3 Harris Technologies.
What is it? LHX?
LHX.
I don't think I've ever looked at this chart.
Well, they're a defense contractor.
Yeah,
Anyway, I think
looks good. It looks good. I would just say the monthly is a little concerning.
why you got a hot dog forming over here.
Well, you had a look above and fail, right? So, and it failed on a higher volume. So you got to take
Fair
that.
enough.
You got to take
Fair
that
enough.
out. Yeah. So look, I'm not saying the chart looks bad, but that candle has to be your kind of pivots up and down, right? So if we take that high out, and especially if it happens on higher volume, this is going much higher. But we looked above. This is a common look, right? Break above the pivot high and then fail, and then breaks below the pivot low, and then either continues or fails again. So that's kind of what you have to be watching here. Monthly reaction so far is pretty spot on. So over that 308, 112 level, we go higher.
Yep.
I love expensive stocks and I love round numbers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Three
like,
hundo.
it'd be great to see price even kind of fuck around right here and just to kind of give you the 300, the round number to kind of play against. You have the 50, you have all the short-term moving averages right here.
Yeah.
So,
and if you got to pull to like say 276, 280, that'd be a great entry, right? That's a retest of the wick high somewhere around there, double wick high. So it could even pull down to, if you go like 266, but it's basing above pivot highs. We just talked about this at the beginning of the show. Stocks that base above pivots are where I'm starting to get a little, a little bit more excited about the look. It's when they base below pivots that's always kind of concerning for me. It's like, buyers don't have that moxie to say this is a good point where we're going to keep buying above, right? That's the human psychology.
The
Right.
human
And so
psychology.
Like for example, right, we talked about Wayfair last week. Wayfair, we talked about the character change in Wayfair. If you bring it up real quick, this is the character change. Even during the weakness, it stayed above the pivot, the stage one base, right? And retest the stage one base and has been outperforming. This is the type of stuff I want to see in character changes.
Yeah, Wayfair looks so good.
Dude, it's a beast.
Well,
man,
GP can keep
Shopify looks
calling it
damn good here.
bullish and get it right finally, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A little inverse Burry on that ass.
It's been bullish the whole time, just in a wide fucking range.
Pull up the Shopify chart real quick on the daily.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of
did
a
not
perfect
like that.
example of what I was talking about when it comes to those high volume candles. Obviously, a lot of times they coincide with an EPS announcement. But if you look at that August 6th candle, price is kind of fucked with that candle this entire since then. And if you look at Monday, that's kind of exactly what happened. Is price pulled back to that high volume candle. It didn't quite bottom tick the low of that candle, but I mean it held within that, and then now we're kind of seeing an island on a candle by candle formation. You're seeing an island reversal. I mean, shit. I wish Shop had been on my radar. This is, I think this is a phenomenal entry here versus 160. At 160, even kind of where it's sitting. I think what you could probably get away risking like maybe 4 or 5 points under the low of the day today. If it takes out today's low, yeah, you could probably go be like, all right, it's going to lose the island, but shit, Shop wasn't on my radar, and I didn't pull it up until you had mentioned Wayfair. But I just wanted to point that out as an example of like looking at these high volume candles. And kind of how to look at them. So
well, I just love, again, you brought up the island reversal, and we've talked about island reversals more times than I can count over the past 3 or so years. But when you have it, there's one thing to get that move right, and then to get the gap up. That's what creates the island, right? There's no space around that candle. I just think it's when you see these charts that are doing this, to me, that exemplifies strength. And GP, I think you said you didn't like Shop.
It's the same concept, right? It's basing below the pivot, right? Consolidating below the pivot high from 2021. And so it's the same. I just didn't like that it failed below that pivot again, right? Once you take out a pivot, you want it to hold above. That's just what it is.
Yeah. I feel you there.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. I just think, again, coming back to my money rotates, it's great to see things just continually to move up like we did for weeks on end. But we have to digest some of these gains. That means there's going to be sellers. And in a constructive market, those moves don't happen on consistent, just keep gapping up like we saw, right, in the Qs. What was it? A few days ago, right? Like this is unsustainable, right? Like this does not happen. And of course, you're going to get selling into that. So, yes, you get this island and then you're back up above the range, right? This is where we should be. I mean, when we were here, 2 Thursdays ago, so long ago, when we were here 2 Thursdays ago, and this happened, it was like buckle up, right? And then it came down. But I still think we're going to have continued moves to the upside. I see what's happening. I see the price, but it would have been more worrisome to me. We can use that Shop chart or we can use this Q's chart. Had we come into this and then went right back down. right? That would have been an inclination to me that it's a market weakness. To me, this is market strength. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misreading it. But you have the most volume on the island candle, and now you've gapped up and you're consolidating for the move higher, at least in my opinion. I do want to check before we hop. We'll run out of time. I've had this in my mentions a lot. ACHR, and I'm not involved in Archer Aviation, but there's a lot of people with interest on it, and I'm just curious on your guys' take. I think this is a rival to maybe Joby.
ONDS too is another one.
So I don't know. I don't have a position, but curious what your guys' thoughts are. Because when I see a chart like this, to me, I can't parse the signal from the noise that the chart's giving me. So I just go onto something that's easier.
What?
Look at the quarterly. Start with the quarterly, and you'll get it. You'll get your.
I mean, I can already tell you, I hate this.
And look at the volume on the quarterly charts, right? Like that's selling at the top of the range with the wicks on top of everything else. So unless this quarter changes that's back-to-back quarters of selling. You also it's an outside candle on the quarterly. It made a new high and made a new low. Those are not great at the highs. Those are reversal candles, and this is reversal candles on a larger time frame. So no thanks. If you're in it, I wish you luck and hope it goes higher. But I don't like this. So if it already fails,
I guess I just don't understand why people want to be involved. And I'm not using that as a judgmental statement. For me, I mean, you probably heard me say this 30 times in California. It's too hard, right? It's just too hard for me. I don't want to deal with that. Yeah. So, Jeff DI, just fucking do it. Nick, go.
Outside of the charts, I'm mega bold on drones. I think that drones in some capacity are the future, just kind of like humanoids. Whether or not they're not making any money right now. They're pretty much, whatever. It's all speculation. It'd be difficult. With that being said, you've got to pick your spots and wait for the setups if you're trading it. Speaking to like a longer term investment, I don't have that kind of conviction because you're like I'm mega bullish on the idea of drones. The price action has to be there, like the setups have to be there. Like I do like AC Archer. I do like Archer here. It's at the bottom of the range. Put in an island reversal. You have a low risk entry here. All you're risking is at this point $2. Like let's just say you're risking down to 7. You've got there's a lot of volume within this range that we're currently in from now to this last May. Which I think, again, like the debate whether it's accumulation or distribution is there. Like you can debate that all day. I'm just saying that outside of the charts, I'm mega bullish on drones. Price action and the setup's got to be there.
Yep.
Like, is it a name that you want to be like DCAing and building a position? I'm not the person to ask. At least not at the moment. So I think it looks good. So does Joby. I think Joby looks better than Archer. Because a lot of what these things are moving on, they're all moving on like various like news announcements. They're partnering with this, they're partnering with them, they're getting a government contract, this or that. Yeah.
And Joby's quarterly supports your thesis, right? Like, so if you go to the Joby quarterly,
and to your point, like it's holding above like where price is at. It's kind of holding above the big base too.
Yeah.
But I'm not shitting on the companies, right? Like the chart to me is just too much for me to want to be involved right now. Maybe I'm going to be late to the party, but I understand the thesis, Nick.
it's why there's already a misery of charts that are in a bullish stance, right? That have been going sideways. Why take a shot at something that's if you fundamentally believe drones are the next leg here higher in world technology, then I can understand that, right? So I take shots at stuff, right? I took shots at MicroStrategy here because I think crypto is at the bottom of the range in general, right? So RKT looks great.
Is RKT a drone name? I'm looking at
no Rocket. They're a mortgage company.
Oh, all right.
It was an arm of Quicken.
Quicken,
they
yeah.
spun it off.
Okay.
I don't like that high volume.
If we go to the
though.
30-year mortgage, 50-year mortgage, holy shit.
Insane.
Insanity. Like,
I don't think it matters. I think if it lowers payments,
yeah,
people,
totally. I mean,
like, I don't think maybe some people hold for 30 years and beyond, but I think people have, especially like the first homes for a lot of people, they're starter homes, right? So 50-year to get you into a starter home, your asset value appreciates over time. Then once you have a bit more cash, you're older, you have kids, and you move into a bigger house, you can revert to a 30-year or 15-year or whatever. So I don't see anything wrong with, you're not having a 50-year-old or 60-year-old going into a 50-year mortgage, right? This is to help out the younger generation.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't see anything issue with a 50-year.
Yeah, I hear you, and I can play that side of the coin too. I had a professor when I was in school a long time ago, a 70-year-old man, and he's like, ha, 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 I just bought a $250,000 house and I've got a 30-year mortgage. Joke's on them, right?
Yeah.
So I think you can say somebody might who's older might buy a 50-year mortgage. I get it. I think we are, as most of us are, more knowledgeable about how we use and move money. But for some people, it will be a trap. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying at the rate of repaying, if you are in that 50-year mortgage, it's ridiculous. It was like a $300,000 house on a 30-year mortgage is around $1 million. With a 50-year mortgage, it becomes almost $2 million. So that's all. Yeah. It's just it's staggering. But money is worth more today than it is in 50 years from now. So it's like these contracts in these sports leagues. Guys are getting paid mega buku bucks until the next guy gets paid mega buku bucks, and it looks like that other player got bought for a discount, right? So it's all perspective.
That for sure. But we talked about we're in a recession of people who hold assets, right? And so if more people, home prices are not coming down 50%. It's not happening. So affordability. Well, if that happens, we're in a world of shit, right? Overall. So home prices might come down 15, 20%. That still doesn't make $1.5 million property affordable for anyone in their 30s, right?
That's right.
Or in their 40s. So the 50-year mortgage gets you started in a cycle where you can start to build your assets. And then once you have the means, hopefully you have the means, and you can upgrade, and then you can take on a more lucrative. But dude, if you think about mortgages in general, the amount of interest we pay is ridiculous, right? Like you're paying more than double the value of the home by the time you're done with 30-year mortgage. So when I got my house, I got a 25-year mortgage because that 5 years made a difference of $80,000 in interest, right? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do 25. They're the same rate. Why not, right?
Yep.
I think the awesome thing about this is that for those that are intelligent and have, I don't know, let's just say discipline, man, if you could draw out a 50, I mean, because you stretch the loan out, you can always, like, if you could take a 50-year out, lower your payment, but you could have afforded, like, let's say a 15-year mortgage or like a 25-year mortgage
quicker. Sure, you can pay it off
double
quicker.
Your payment.
That's where you're going, right?
it's like giving people an opportunity to get into homes. I think it's going to give, like, I don't know, home flippers
Well,
and investors like another advantage. And I don't think that we don't need to get into politics. But what I do think is that it does not matter who was going to be like, it doesn't matter who our figurehead is. This is like inflation isn't going anywhere.
yeah.
Like we can argue all that shit. Like they're going to continually print money. Inflation is going to continue. How fast and like, at what angle inflation goes, like that's just to think that like we're gonna go in the other direction, I think is kind of foolish to
Before
me.
we turn this
So
show into a Dave
yeah,
Ramsey
sorry.
podcast, the last thing I'm gonna throw out there is it doesn't solve the question of rising home prices, right? Like
Right.
you're still getting a mortgage at a discount compared to a 30 or a 15-year mortgage, but it's not lowering the price of homes because it's a supply and demand curve, and there's much more demand than there is supply, right? So that it's not solving the affordability problem that we have.
No. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to wrap it up, guys. We got to wrap it up.
Even the supply that's coming on is not affordable, right? Like
No.
the homes that are coming on in my area are starting at 500,000. That's still not that.
Yes.
And they're 2-bedroom apartments, right? So
yeah.
Politicians in general are so out of touch with reality for the majority of people out there.
100%.
Like it's incredibly mind-blowing. To think that any of these politicians, I don't care what side you're on, to think that they're like one of us.
there is, right? And I think it's more on local levels. I don't know what happens when they get to the higher levels, but he's not like everyone thinks he's a Islamic socialist. But Mamdani is relatable. He's talking about things that matter to people, even though they hate him, right? Like if he brings down the cost, if he's successful at what he wants to do in New York, I think overall quality of life goes up. And that's the politicians we all are looking for, right? A bit more centered, not right, not left, but more centered. Like we all think that no one should struggle to eat. No one should struggle to pay their rent, right? I think that's for most of us, that's part of our DNA, right? Like the basics in life should not ever be a struggle. Like if you want to go on vacations, fine. You have to work harder, make more money, do all those things, but you should be able to afford basic healthcare needs, basic food needs, basic housing needs across the board. If you want to call that socialist, fine, but that's sorry.
No, that's all right. It's been a great show. We're going to wrap it up like we always do. Nick,
just focus. Just focus and do it. We'll see you tomorrow.
GP.
Gold bug. This man's a gold bug. I left you with the dad joke last week, but I heard something I thought was really apropos to our relationship. 3 people in a relationship, it's called a threesome, and 2 people in a relationship is called a twosome. But I'm just wondering why they call you both handsome. Are you really wondering?
That's it. All right, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Community Rip Live over on Stock Twits, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Every Wednesday we're over there. We'd love for you to join. Thanks for joining today. We got the gremlins worked out of our little production set here. As you can tell, I'm having some fun with some of the stuff that's on screen, the sounds, whatnot. But thank you guys. Thanks for being here. We always appreciate you. We love you. And with all that, we are out of here.